about biceps as having two major functions, right? And the one that most people don't think about, and I've done this in some of my other videos, is this. This is one of the primary functions of biceps. So palm down to palm up. It means a more shortened bicep. You can actually probably see that happening at my bicep. As I just move, the bicep contracts. So this is one of the major things that most people just pay no attention to when they're training their biceps. So this is important at some level, but so is this. So those are two important functions, and you always want to incorporate all the major functions of that muscle. Well, this is also a function of the bicep, but we won't get into that in this particular video. So using something like a fixed cambered bar, so a fixed easy curl bar, is, let's think about that conceptually for a minute, right? Let's think about what's actually happening. So it's putting our hands into this position and doing this. So is that getting any type of shortening at the bicep? So if we know that this is a shortened bicep, if I do this, what's it doing? It's lengthening my bicep. So is that really a great choice for working your biceps? Probably not. It may be a good idea for working your elbow flexors, which is a whole bunch of muscles, brachialis, brachioradialis, as well as the biceps, but actually to a lesser extent it's the biceps. So whenever we're training our biceps, we want to try to make sure we're getting to this position, which is why I strongly suggest most people use mostly dumbbells when they're training biceps, because it allows you to appropriately manipulate this. So using something like a barbell may not necessarily be a bad idea, but when possible, we want to try to get into this plane and keep it there. Now the next thing you're going to see when most people start getting into this plane with a barbell is this. So their arms are going to flare out, and if you think about the elbow joint conceptually, it only works like this. It's called a hinge joint. It only works in this plane. So if I start doing this, in order for that movement to be appropriate, the range needs to happen here. So is that in any way going to be appropriate for a barbell or some type of fixed apparatus? Probably not. So think about this. Either we keep our elbows in like this and do barbell curls with our palms facing the ceiling, or we discard barbells altogether as far as being a valuable exercise for biceps. So everybody says if you want to build big biceps, you got to do barbell curls. I say that's a load of crap, because if you just think about that logically, if we're not doing it exactly like this, there's not a lot happening. And a lot of times as we get tired, it'll be this. You get a lot of pain going through your wrists, a lot of pain in your elbows, not a whole lot going through your biceps. So especially with easy curl bars, where you're not getting a bicep particularly short this way, and you're also not getting a particularly large amount of elbow flexion, because a lot of the movement's probably like this. So if I'm doing this movement, and most people we see do this, a lot of that movement isn't actually happening at my elbow. So pay attention to what is actually happening as far as movements go when you're executing biceps. So is it, first of all, acting as a hinge joint? Second of all, is it acting as a bicep supinator? So those are your two most appropriate things. So really pick and choose your exercises appropriately and be very, very selective with how you do them, so that you can make sure you're actually recruiting the muscle you think you are.